Welcome back to more D&D advice. The last couple times I talked about some type of critical miss chart. So what you're going to find is that there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. What I have seen in the past is DMs say if you roll a nat 1, you hit yourself. But that makes certain builds automatically, invalid. Because these first two guys will kill themselves with a single swing. Therefore, 5% of the time their character dies and they have to recreate the same character. On the other hand, this guy deals a little bit of damage, and so he's probably fine taking a little bit damage every now and then. But your sorcerer, he's casting AoE spells and therefore doesn't roll the hit and is immune to this special rule. So this feels very negative on the side of the heavy hitters, more so than on the sides of the sorcerers and the fighters. So what you need to do as a DM is to make yourself a nice little chart so that if they do roll a nat 1, it's like not entirely disabling and it's not entirely deadly to the characters. And so that will give them a little bit more options on exactly how they want to build their character, but you must present this to them and they must approve this. Otherwise, what you're going to find is that the party just doesn't want to play with you because their character just keeps dying because you're just not being fair on this rule. Another thing that you can do is a critical hit table. Anytime someone crits, they can roll on this table and have damage dealt. Again, make sure that the characters or the players are okay with this before you actually implement it in your game. And so what I did was I separated this out by piercing, bludgeoning, slashing, and elemental damage to add a little bit more flavor and to give your D&D campaign a little bit more of that rugged feel, because some people really like that rugged feel. Now, you can also implement this as like a weakness of a boss, so that it only applies to that boss and not to all the players, which is another great way to implement it without your player's permission. And this would be in addition to the ×2 damage. So anytime you tell the players they're more powerful than they actually are, they have a tendency to kind of like every time this shows up. Another way that you can do this is to do something similar to what I did with the death chart. But every time you crit on top of double damage, you roll on this chart and they suffer the additional effects of whatever that is. Again, certain scenarios might be more appropriate. Some people like this full on in their campaign. Make a chart and do whatever makes sense for your party. If you like this type of content, please, as always, comment below and like and follow. Please follow for more DM advice.